All right, welcome back, everyone, for another episode of the Wednesday Watch List. This is my weekly look ahead to all the new comic books coming out this Wednesday, March 12th, 2025. I'm going to give you a rundown of all the things on my pull list, things that I'm reading, some new number ones, facsimiles, later prints, variants, etc. All the things you should be aware of before you go to your shop this Wednesday to go pick up your books. Hopefully you're enjoying this series as well as everything else here on the channel. Please let me know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure that you like, you subscribe, you hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel. And if you want to see this week's rundown, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro, and I will be right back. Alrighty, well, we'll start it off as we do every week with my personal pull list. These are the books that are on my pull list for this week, things I can't wait to read, top of the pile type stuff, and things I'm just generally, looking forward to. Starting off this week, I am still on board, albeit a little bit tentatively, for the Absolute Universe. Again, we start hitting that point a half dozen issues in where anytime we get a new universe, I start getting a little bit of fatigue. So we're getting near that point with Absolute Superman, Batman, etc. But we're getting a new issue of Absolute Superman, so I'm still on board, still looking forward to see where we're going with this storyline and seeing how much, they're tweaking and changing here and there. This is the cover A. We've also got B covers and C cover options, and then we've got a couple of incentives, which include a 1 in 50 that will take that limited trade dress and make it a virgin for a 1 in 50. I know it's not much of a change, so you're better off just getting the regular old trade dress or limited trade dress for cover price, even though these 1 in 50s and 1 in 25s are really not expensive. DC incentives in most cases are like half ratio. So a 1 in 50 can easily be found in most places like 20, 25 bucks realistically. But even with that, if you want to pay up for them, that's up to you. That's your decision. Now, with that said, outside of DC, I'm also looking forward to some more stuff out of Ghost Machine. And this is the continuation of Geiger. So we're getting issue 12 here. We got the glowing woman, again, front and center. The synopsis says the first year of the hit ongoing Geiger series. I mean, yeah, it is the first year, but it's a bit misleading because there was a mini that came before it. So you kind of want to have that backstory as well. But still, point being, a good first 12 issue run so far. I'm still on board and on board for more. We've got 3 options here. I'm probably going to grab this one. It's probably my favorite of the bunch, but there are a couple other options here as well with the, our glowing kind of greenish bright cover there in the middle, as well as a wraparound showing off Junkyard Joe. Now, that is not a side cover. I'm annoyed by those when it's a side picture. Apparently, this is actually a wraparound, but I have it turned on its side to fit. But it would actually look like this if you were to open it up and see the wraparound cover completely. So I'm assuming the staples will run down the middle of Joe's face right there and kind of cut them off. So because it didn't say gatefold, it said wraparound. So that's what I would expect with this one. Again, I'm probably just still sticking with that cover A. So that's the one I'm going to be grabbing for my pile. But you get whichever one you prefer. Also, at a Ghost Machine this week, we're getting the next installment of Redcoat. I'm still enjoying this series. I got a little bit of catching up to do. I'm like an issue or 2 behind, but I'm still on board. I keep adding this. This is definitely on my pull list, just along with most of the stuff coming out of Ghost Machine. So I'm continuing to see where Simon Pure is going in the issues ahead. But here we go with issue 10 and a couple of options here as well. I'm probably just sticking with the A or the B is not bad with the red. And then there's also Lyrics Lee option as well. I mean, they're all solid. So pick whichever one you prefer. But I'm good with any of these personally. Because, again, my biggest draw is what's inside, is the guts. I'm not too much worried about the covers for these particular books because these are things that I'm looking forward to reading. Now, I had this book on outside look on the fence. I'm sorry, on the fence last month because I was considering hopping off. And even though I am still a couple issues behind, I will keep my faith in Daniel Warren Johnson and also just see this through to the end at this point. I mean, I believe it's going to be a 12 issue run. We're already more than halfway through at this point. So I'm just going to ride this thing out no matter what. And because I'm pre-ordering them, so I'm paying half of the cover anyway. And at $4, it's only costing me a little over $2 an issue. So I'm just going to see this thing through. So I decided to take it off of On the Fence and just put it on the pull list because it's just going to be on my pull list. It's part of my my ongoing DCBS order where I'm getting at a decent discount. So with that said, going to keep getting these. I'll eventually catch up on reading them. But like I said, I'm banking on my my fandom of the creator on carrying me through. So, with that said, we've got two covers. Cover A, there's a cover B option here as well. I'm fine with either, honestly, but we're just going to move it on to the other title that reminds me of Daniel Warren Johnson, and that is Transformers. Still writing. I wish he was doing the art, but we do get the occasional cover here and there. And I do like this one with Bruticus and Starscream right there front and center. But this is issue 18 of the Transformers. We do have some spoiler covers coming up in here as well. So I'm going to preface this with, hey, if you're not up to date and reading this book, then maybe, you might not want to watch this bit, jump ahead like 30 seconds. But there's a couple spoiler covers. Yes, one is including Megatron, who we know after the last issue is returning, so shouldn't be too much of a surprise there. And we got my man there with the sword coming back there. I'm not even sure which bot that is over the side. He looks familiar, but I can't quite place him at this moment, so I'm just going to leave it there. If you guys know, feel free to put it in the comments down below and help me out, because I'm just doing this on the fly, and sometimes I do get a little brain bubble and forget things that I mean to speak to when I'm sitting down to record this. But that aside, we already got the Megatron spoil out of the way, so it's not another spoiler to tell you that he is on the 1 in 10 as well, and that is part of the connecting cover set. Pretty cool cover there with the, you got Ravage right there and up, right in the foreground as well. Is pretty cool. And I really do like the 1 in 25. It's like Jeff Darrow level detail. I just dig it, and I think it's really cool. You really got to sit down and kind of pick out the little bits and little Easter eggs and little teaser images and things like that, just buried in what seems to be a nonsense pile. But there are tons of things just drawn in there that just draw the eye to me. I enjoy that kind of stuff. So I like that 1 in 25. And the 1 in 50 is not bad either. You got RC, you got Optimus. It's pretty cool. Pick up whichever ones you like. These are not doing anything above ratio. You can find them ratio or less easily enough. And as I mentioned, that 1 in 10 is part of the connecting cover set, which at this point runs 4 deep. So here we have that set so far. Pretty cool, when you put them all together like that. I'm always a fan of a good connecting cover set, though I can't get them all because we're getting too many these days. I mean, every single Energon universe title basically has been doing this for their 1 in 10s, and I just can't keep doing that for all the 1 in 10s because, yes, sometimes you can get 1 in 10s for like cover price. A lot of the times you got to pay like $10 or close to it. It's not cost feasible to continue that for every single title. So I do it occasionally, but this is a pretty cool one. With that said, one more Energon Universe title for this week is we are getting issue 17 of Void Rivals. After a little bit of a break, I think it's been like since end of January, so like a month and a half. So not a long break, but a little bit of a delay between issues. We have issue 17 coming here with a cover A and a cover B there, with Pythona still, playing a role here in the story and on the covers. Then we also have our allotment of incentives, including the connecting 1 in 10, 1 in 25, and a solid 1 in 50, which, again, I'm not a Rodimus Prime fan, or or what else was he called? I mean, Rodimus Prime is when he became Prime, but before that, Hot Rod. Just Hot Rod in general. Not a huge Hot Rod guy. I know he was from the movie, but I didn't like him taking over for Optimus. Like, part of it's just, I don't know, Optimus is my guy. That said, still a cool cover. Still a cool cover. And with the connecting cover sets on the 1 in 10, this is only the second part in the current, the current run. So we just have the 2 issues here with issues 16 and 17 connecting up so far. We'll see how far this one goes out. Now, that's on my personal pull list. Books I'm definitely grabbing this week for sure. Now, before we move on to our next segment, I just want to take a moment to remind you all to try out Whatnot. If you haven't already, first-time users, you all get $15. $15 for signing up on your first purchase for free to spend on whatever you want with whomever you want. No strings attached. I'll eventually find my way back over to the platform to do another sale because I got plenty of books that I need to send back out into the world. But with that said, you can spend that money with whomever you want. Doesn't have to be with me. It could be with anybody. Either way, you help out the channel. You get yourselves a free $15 just to try out Whatnot. Now, with that said, we are going to move it on over to the viewer recommendation segment of this program. Now, last week, I was recommended this book, Day of the Dead Girl by Brian Hayes. Said it was a very good book. I'd like to believe you, Brian, but I can't because I couldn't get this book. I couldn't get it, so this one is on hold. I had to order it online to give it a look-see because the shop around me just didn't have it on hand. So couldn't get it. So I'll have to order this one, online and wait for it to come in to give it a look see. But that was a recommendation for last week. And no one gave me another recommendations for this week. So I don't have a viewer recommended book. So I decided to cover it with two taste test books. But if there are books out there, titles out there that you guys are reading, you think I should take a look at, or things that you're just a fan of the current run, please let me know and I'll mark it. And the next time the next issue comes out, I'll try to put it into this segment. Again, we had Barlord recommending Green Arrow not that long ago, which is pretty good. Also, I think it was Doc Rob recommended FML last week, which is pretty solid. So yeah, throw out your recommendations if you got them. I can't read everything. So throw out things that you guys are reading, and I'm happy to give them a try. I'm always looking for good stuff to read because sometimes I get let down by the things that I think are going to be good, and then I'm like, man, I really wish somebody would have told me something better. So I'm leaning on you guys as well. With that said, going over to my taste test section, this is very similar to viewer recommendations. It's just that I'm giving the recommendation to myself because it's stuff that I think either I haven't read it in a while, took a few issues off, took some time out, whatever it may be. I just want to give it a look-see and try it out. Last week, I decided to get back into Ultra Mega before we get to the end, because I think issue 9 is when it's going to wrap up at least this next arc, if not the title as a whole. So I figured now's a good time to kind of hop back in and see if I should catch up. And yes, I believe that I should. Oh, why is this marked there? Oh, sorry for the quick hiccup. I just realized I had the wrong thumb going on this because I did give this a read last week, and it was the same insane, crazy high. I don't know even know how to explain it. There's some wild stuff going on in this book, but it was pretty darn entertaining. And I accidentally had a thumbs down when it should have been a thumbs up because I'd have to catch up on reading this title. It's been a while. Like I said, I didn't since the first arc, so I hadn't been on board for the second arc. Now I really need to catch up because again, it's a crazy story. Art's solid. I dig it. May not be for everyone, but I enjoyed this. So I'm gonna have to go and catch up before the end here, if I can. Now, in addition to that, that was last week. So I decided this week, with no viewer recommendations, I gave myself 2 taste tests to try. And one of them is Hell Hunters. Yes, this is that World War II with the Ghost Rider World War II Sal, whatever his name is. I gave the first issue a try and then wasn't in love with it. I was just like, well, it was okay. So I haven't read any since then. Granted, we're only here at issue 4, but I figured, you know what? Now's the time to just kind of dip back in and see if it got any better, or how this first run is going to be coming to a close soon, because I believe that it is in the next issue or so. So at issue 4 with 2 cover options here, I figured now's a good time, just like I said, dip back in and see if this title is any good. I have the same story for the next book. I really did not like the first issue of West Coast Avengers, but now we're at issue 5, ending the first story arc. These Ben Harvey covers have been catching my eye, so they've been making me think about getting back on board. But here we have Flag Smasher returning, and that's a character I haven't seen in a while, to the point where I might even put that in Dollar Bin Digging this week. It's kind of a tease. But with that said, I got to give this a shot again. I don't know if it's going to be any good. I don't know if it's going to be any better. Just that first issue really turned me off when Iron Man, wearing his armor with a helmet, had a helmet on. Like, why did he have a scooter helmet on? He's got an Iron Man helmet on. Once I saw that, I was completely I couldn't pay attention anymore. I was just completely befuddled by the whole point of it. Whether it be a joke or not, it just really took me out of it. So I'm going to go back. Here we are, issue 5. See where we're at, see if this title is any good at this point. I don't know. Give it another try. That's all I'm looking for. With that, cover A here, there is a B cover option as well with Spider-Woman and Firestar. There are other covers that I may not be showing now. They'll end up in other segments later on in this program, but there is also a 1 in 25 here as well. I'm probably just going to grab that Ben Harvey because I like Ben Harvey, and just go with the cover A to give this one another try. But that's the whole point with the taste test or the recommendations. Sometimes you just want to know. I just want to know, is it worth going back to? Am I missing out on something? Should I be keeping up? But with that said, other things that you got to do sometimes is you got to buy those supplies. When you're buying those supplies, it stinks to have to pay money to buy your bags and boards, your boxes, etc. But if you're going to do it, I buy most of my stuff through BCW, so you can use their link below and my code RENA10 to save yourself 10% off your next order. Your entire order, all your bags and boards, your long boxes, short boxes, CGC boxes, top loaders, pages for your cards, whatever you need to keep your comics and collectibles safe, most likely BCW has a product for you, and you can save some money by using my code RENA10 by ordering from them. So just think about it. You help out the channel. You get the things you need to get anyway, and we're all good. Now, with that all said, we've gone through my pull list, and we've gone through the other bit there, but we're going on now to On the Fence. So with On the Fence, these are going to be titles that, again, I'm basically on the fence. Maybe I'll keep up with it. This could be the last go around. This could be it for it, but we'll see. I'm just really on the fence and deciding whether I want to keep this as part of my pull or just jump off the train now. With that, I've had this one here for issues, and I've already said it. I'm keeping through at least through issue 5 until we get the reveal of who this all new Venom is. I'm probably on board through there, but they are on thin ice. So it's on the fence still at this point, at least for one more issue. I'm definitely on board. After that, we'll see how that storyline is going. But all right, MODOK madness. You kind of have my attention there. I can use some silliness here. We can get some MODOK in here. Well, it doesn't have to be silly. They could try to give us a serious MODOK as well. I'm just saying. It's a character I haven't seen in a while. And yes, he has been portrayed as pretty silly in recent years with the Patton Oswalt show, etc. But hey, it is what it is. You do what you could do with a character that's a giant head floating around in a little, little suit with his tiny little legs dangling. Now, with that all said, this is the cover A. We've got a couple other options here, including a gorgeous Delato there in the middle. It brings you back to the old days. Remember when Delato was just killing it on all those Spider-Man and Venom titles? Well, this is getting back to form. I don't want to say getting back to form. It's not like he lost it. It's just I feel like we haven't seen it in a while. We got sidetracked. There was a lot of DuckTales and things like that in the mix. And then we also have this connecting cover where Venom is spelling out the name Venom that I really don't care for. That's, again, I'm a fan of connecting cover sets, but I'm really not liking this one. We're 4 in. I haven't showed you how they connect completely yet. I will once we get the last one. And then you can see what we're all been missing. And it's not great. But with that said, what isn't bad is the 1 in 100, which is a version of that Delato, which is pretty cool. Yeah, there's a lot of empty space there at the top where the trade dress was. I'm fine just getting the trade dress. I don't need to be buying 1 in 100s, but this could be one. Keep an eye on for the week. Could go above ratio if people decide to start buying in on it. I don't know. Just saying. A couple have sold right in that kind of range, so we'll see what happens with it going forward. But with that said, moving on to On the Fence, I've mentioned it before. This is exactly what I wanted out of a Batman title. I wanted a more detective story, but I didn't love the first arc with the wounded guy. I don't know, just something about the villain just really took me out of it because it was just kind of a weird concept that on paper sounds cool, but in execution, it's kind of weird. I don't know. Just didn't love it. But we're getting a new story arc, a new case here. So we'll see how this one starts off and see how this one goes and see if I can hopefully continue on with what I want. I want a detective Batman. I want a Batman who is a detective. I'm into that. I like that. I like the Sherlock Holmes type of storylines, things like that. I want to know, what's going on here. But 2 covers here, cover A, cover B option as well. I'm fine with either. I'm probably just going to end up getting the A because it'll probably be easiest, but they're both there if you want them. With that said, hopefully it's good. We'll see how it goes. Also, on the fence about continuing Green Lantern Corps. I want new Green Lantern Corps. I hope they do something interesting with it. So far, it just seems like we've been here before. So I just want to see if we got anything new coming. So I'm on the fence. I can't buy all the Green Lantern titles along with everything else that I'm buying. So that's also part of it. So you give me a main title. Now we got the core title. I don't know how many I can keep up with on a monthly basis. So they're on the fence right now. So we'll see how it goes. But Kilowog, Guy Gardner, cool. I'm big fans of a larger core and a bigger storyline with these guys personally. So hopefully it's executed well and I can keep on reading it. But for now, it's on the fence with a couple cover options. We got A's, we got B's, we got C's. We've got, that's pretty cool. Kilowog there in the middle with Simon Baz. I think it's owned by Wilkins. Then we've also got options by Zerdy here with Guy Gardner. And then there's also an acetate cover that's featuring Kilowog, which is kind of interesting. Acetate, you could fold. It's that plastic, see-through type plastic that you can open up and then a different image or the same image might be seen through. We'll see. I haven't seen this one in person yet, so I don't know what that's all about. But that's there as an option, as well as a 1 in 25 and a 1 in 50. Under ratio if you want them out there for now, but just needed to show them to you. Now, With that said, let's get it on over to X-Men Hunt. Why? Well, it's not so much that I'm really excited by this storyline. I mean, Charles Xavier, they're all hunting him down. It's all right, I guess, but I mean, I got some catching up to do, to be fair, because this is involving a lot of titles that I'm not currently reading. So keeping up with the entire storyline has been a bit of a chore for me with limited time. But last week, we had NYX in here, which was doing dual duty as part of One World Under Doom and X-Men Hunt, and that is actually true. So we'll get to that in a minute. But for this week, we've got X-Men number 13. So X-Men 13 is part of it. That's part 4 of 7. This is normally part of my pull list because it's an X-Men title, one of the main 2 X-Men titles. So Uncanny and regular X-Men, regardless, that with ASM, I'm just buying every month, no matter what. Just going to happen. As long as I'm collecting comics, I'm going to be getting at least those 3 books every month. So with that said, a couple of options here. Ikajur in the middle there, really cool. The Noto, which is not a connecting cover set, but they continue to call it that. And then we also have a 1 in 50 option, which is a version of that gorgeous storm cover there in the middle. So I'm going to get the trade dress, fine with that. But I can see people might gravitate towards the 1 in 50 a little bit. It might end up going above ratio, but we'll see how the week goes. The other title out this week that ties in with the story, which is part 5 of 7, is X Factor, which is normally, for me, left on the shelf. That's why I wanted to put that in there, because I've given up on X Factor already. But this is issue 300, so it's a legacy milestone, even though I didn't really make a huge deal out of it. But it's a legacy milestone edition. It's part of this ongoing storyline, so it looks like I'll have to grab it this week just to see what goes on with the storyline as a whole. But normally, I have this left on the shelf because I just haven't been interested in this angle on X Factor. There's too many X books. Can't read them all as much as I'd love to. Sometimes you got to make decisions. And this was one I decided early on to cut from my weekly or my monthly budget. With that said, this is only at issue 8, mind you. We have this cover A, and then we have that Noto lineup, usual suspect style lineup. And then there is also a 1 in 25, which is a Greg Land throwback to the old school OG X Factor days. Granted, there's only 3 of them on there. I don't know why we couldn't just include the rest of the crew. Where's Iceman? Where's Warren? But with that said, it's okay for 1 in 25. And then going back to these being interlocking covers, I still don't see it because that's not how lineups work. You all can't stand at the same spot with where the heights are. And they might have the heights on one side and then on the opposite side, but that's it. It's not staggered throughout the lineup. But be that as it may, a couple more covers for that run, even though they're really not interlocking or connecting covers. With that said, I mentioned One World Under Doom, and NYX last week actually was part of the tie-ins for this. So we do have that in there. This week, we've got 2 more additions to the ongoing storyline, which I think has grown to be over 40 some issues. I got them all ready to go once we get to them, but so far, these tie-ins, there's a lot. So, One World Under Doom, this week's Iron Man, the Insurgent Iron Man, number 6. Nice cover here on the cover A, Legacy 676, but I really am a fan of this Ian Bertram cover here for the B cover. I get it. It's a ridiculously huge sword, but anytime since Final Fantasy VII, I see a gigantic sword in somebody's hand, it calls my attention. It just does. So I think it kind of looks cool. I like the art there. I like that B cover personally. And this is, again, the next tie-in book. We have not a main story or core title, just tie-in towards One World Under Doom. You don't have to read all of these to get the whole storyline. You can just do the core titles to get that. This is just, again, a tie-in book to go along with it, as is the next book, which is not only a tie-in to One World Under Doom, but it's also wrapping up or coming to the end of 8 Deaths of Spider-Man. So, we've got 2 storylines being run through this, ASM book. And again, this is part of my normal pull list anyway. I didn't put it on there, but yeah, this is on my pull list anyway. So regardless, I had to be getting it. But ASM 69, we're getting Doom back. As you know, he's the one who gave Spider-Man these extra lives with the magic bit. But we also got a Scotty Young option here as well. So kind of fun with Electro. And then we got incentives, including a version of that Scotty Young. It's okay. Looks like a sketch on somebody's notebook, really, but still pretty cool. But I really do like the 1 in 25. Just that Black Cat front of the tombstone, Here Lies Spider-Man. I believe that is another, I think it's a Ben Harvey, right? It's just good. I just like it. So I don't know if I'm really gonna buy a 1 in 25, but they're under ratio. They're not selling at a premium. I'm just saying I just enjoy the art on that one, and I would consider it if I stumble across it when I go out shopping. But with that said, thank you again to League of Comic Geeks for the rundown of all of the titles as part of this this storyline. I mean, League of Comic Geeks is a good online resource anyway for covers and whatnot, but this is a good rundown with the issues we've covered so far. So here are the first 9 parts of that storyline, and then we've got an additional bit here for last week and this week. Yes, NYX is part of it, and then Iron Man 6 and Amazing Spider-Man 69 get added to the pile for this week. So next week, I think we get another core title to continue the main storyline, along with some more tie-ins. But so far, 13 issues tie into this huge event for Marvel. Now, with that said, let's get on over to new number ones, and we'll start off with Marvel for our new number ones, as I only got one for you. And it's a title that nobody asked for, as far as I'm aware. I feel like these J. Michael Straczynski mashup or team up books that he's doing. I mean, the last one was what, Captain America and Volstagg. Now we've got Nick Fury and Fin Fang Foom. Don't get me wrong, I'm down anytime you want to include Fin Fang Foom in a comic book. But I don't think anybody was saying, you know what would be great? Nick Fury versus Fin Fang Foom. I feel like it was almost like 2 characters pulled out of a hat, 2 wheels spun in some way, just randomizers, putting 2 characters together, and then he's like, all right, I'm going to write something for that. That's what this feels like. But again, weird pairing here. Multiple covers. We got to cover A. We got to cover B. And there is a 1 in 25 that has like a Jaws type of vibe, almost a Venom 3-2 kind of thing with Fin Fang Foom down below, and it got Fury parachuting in. I'm fine just getting the cover A on this. That's probably the best bet, just if you want to check this thing out. But I don't even know if I'm getting this because, again, I don't know if I need this or not. But it is also kind of intriguing. It's weird sometimes how comics work. Sometimes the weirder, the better. Now, with that said, another number one coming out this week is we're getting a new number one for Assassin's Creed. This is tying into the Mirage video game, and we're getting, I think, a 3-issue series out of this. So I end up usually getting these Assassin's Creed books just because I'm a big fan of the video game series, and I get around to reading these eventually, but I usually just end up collecting them because, I collect things that I like. So, Witcher books, Assassin's Creed books, I'll get them, even if I can't keep up on a monthly basis, because they're generally short-term minis. Like this is a 3-issue mini. Okay, I can handle that. But with that said, we've only got the one cover there, so no debates on which one to get. You can just get this one. It also is written by Michael Avon Oeming, who I still remember from Powers back in the day. But solid writer, solid artist. But with that, let's stick with Dark Horse, as Dark Horse is also giving us Welcome to Twilight, which is another part of this minor threats corner of the universe. Like Dark Horse has this little nook kind of squared off for the minor threats. And I've touched a couple of the books. I got a taste of it. Seems interesting, but I am definitely not up to date on all of it. So I don't know where this one ties in personally. If this stuff is really good and this is a universe where I should be reading all the titles, please, again, let me know down below. But as far as I'm aware, I like the creative team. I mean, you got Fraction, Allred, you got Patton Oswalt. I mean, I'm in to a point, but at the same time, I don't know if I should be in. So again, you guys let me know if this is something I should be picking up. But cover A option here. There is also a B, and that's it. There's the all red cover there. And we're going to move on from there. Over to Image with a new title called Assorted Crisis Events. Something about timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly type stuff. Seemed kind of interesting reading off the synopsis here. Might give it a look-see, see if it's any good. Covers aren't bad. This is a cover A. I kind of liked how the trade dress, it's almost got like a warning, dangerous kind of feel to it. A caution tape, if you will. We also got B cover as well as a sketch cover. Both, like I said, A and B aren't bad. And the 1 in 25 is kind of fun by Mike Del Mundo with a giant T-Rex and a little old dude sitting on a little rocking T-Rex in a park. I don't know. It's a fun image, but I don't know. I might give this a try. All right. With that, that's at Image, and then we'll go to Mad Cave for Dark Pyramid. Don't know much about Hooky Hildago, adventurist and popular live streamer, but no, okay. I don't know. Seems like a mildly interesting hook, but man, there's just so many titles out there. Can't try them all. Cover A is fine. Cover B might be a tiny bit better, a little more intriguing with whatever this creature is dangling off this upside down dark pyramid. But really, the winner of the bunch is the 1 in 10, which I think more people might have given the title a shot if they had access to this. Yes, the woman on the bottom there kind of looks like Willow from Buffy. You know who I'm talking about? How I Met Your Mother, too. I was just drawing a blank on her actual name. But that said, this is my favorite cover, but it's a 1 in 10, and I'm not into buying just 1 in 10s of titles I don't even know about. So, I don't know. We'll see. Up next, we're also going to go on the indie side of things with Amp Comics, a publisher I have no knowledge of. But look at that. Look at that face. Probably looks familiar. It's Sensei Kreese. That's Martin Cove, if you guys don't remember. You know, John Kreese from the Karate Kid movies and the Cobra Kai series over on Netflix. Yeah, this guy is writing a comic or is involved in the creation of a comic, and they made the main character drawn. It looks like him. Looks just like him. Like you got to see it. But anyway, we got our John Kreese book here. John Kreese is a cowboy. Cover A. There's a Virgin cover B, and then there is also a. I think this is a 1 in 10. I'm just guessing. It's not confirmed on the incentive, but I think it's priced as a 1 in 10. But I believe this will be the cover that is being used on it. This was a Kickstarter previously, so now it is being published by Amp, whatever Amp publisher is. But with that said, let's move on to a new segment here. I used to have these as part of the later print segment, but with so many coming out this week in particular, and just in general lately, I feel like facsimiles need their own separate section. They're not exactly later prints. They're a separate animal, so let's keep them separate here in the facsimile section. So first up, DC is giving us a handful, starting off with Batman. Batman Adventures number 12, first Harley Quinn. I'm sure you've seen this book before, probably many times. This is not the first time we've seen this. I've seen this done as a reprint and or facsimile, but this is the current version, which will give you a regular facsimile cover for $4. You can get a sketch for $5. You can get a foil version for $8, or going back to $5, you can get a Superpowers action figure cover. Again, I'm tired of the action figure covers, but this is a figure I think looks pretty cool and would buy if this was an actual figure. I would think about it because it looks like the classic style and everything from the original Superpowers line that I collected as a kid. I'd be into this. And I like the, the price tag stuck on there. It looks like an old Toys R Us price tag. A lot of fun. In that sense, they're kind of cool and can be kind of cool. The action figure covers, they've just been done to death with Star Wars and Marvel really running them into the ground. I'm just saying, there were so many, and they're still doing them. But with that said, this is kind of fun. Up next, we also have Detective Comics 31. And I know what you're thinking. This does look familiar. Yes, Neil Adams did do an homage to this later on Batman. What was that, 220? I think it was somewhere in that range. But that all being said, this is the OG, the original Detective Comics 31. Classic. You can get the facsimile cover for $7. Get the blank, even though half of the cover is trade dress, for $7.99. Still would make an awesome option for a sketch. And then we've also got a foil cover for $10 if you want to spend $10 on a shiny foil version of this, which to me, I really don't like the idea of doing foils of these classic books. It's like, I don't know. It just a weird modern gimmick you're putting onto a piece of history just seems weird to me. I just don't want it. Personally, if I'm going to get a facsimile, just give me the bare bones. Just give me the regular old version of it. Because that's what a facsimile is. It's supposed to be a copy. It wasn't shiny the first time around. Why should it be shiny now? But I get it. Some people like it, so they can buy it if they want to pay those extra couple of bucks. God bless them. We're not done. We're not done. We still got more. Swamp Thing. So this is technically Saga Swamp Thing number 37, first appearance of John Constantine. I know we'll have the teases and appearances in other places, but I'm just going to go with this first Constantine. Number 37, facsimile. They also got a sketch there. Facsimile $4, sketch covers $5. There's a foil version for $7. There's also a Mondo art version of it that's just redone, so you can see the art is updated and newer. That's interesting. And then we also got an action figure cover of a John Constantine, which is also kind of fun. He's got a pack of smokes and a lighter. I would definitely buy that if this existed. I would buy that figure, but still kind of fun to have him on one of those action figure covers. That was DC's Facsimile offerings, but they're not alone. We still got Marvel giving us something, as we got Uncanny X-Men 133. This is what I thought of last time out, when I thought this is the issue where we get the best there is of what I do when he's in the sewers, because the last issue ended with him in the sewer, but this is where we started off. It's like a Wolverine solo issue. It's a great issue. Highly recommend it if you haven't read this run. But anyway, 133. I don't honestly know exactly why we're getting this run redone. I mean, we're getting Dark Phoenix, saga, so I guess that's why. I guess it's the anniversary. I don't know. That's probably it. It's probably anniversary of some kind. Point being, if you didn't get the original, there's too pricey. Definitely look towards the facsimile here. And just because they made it, there is a 1 in 25 incentive for this book. Yeah. I'm not a fan of the changing the cover art. I get why they do it. But honestly, I like the original better. Usually they redo it because it's like you can put a prettier cover on something that may have not had the best original cover for a classic issue. But in this case, that original is better than this. I'm just saying, this was unnecessary, but they gave it to us anyway. With that said, now we can get on to our later prints, which are normally where these books are all combined, but segregating them, keeping them separate, because apart from the fact that we had a lot of facsimiles this week, we have even more later prints. So I definitely needed to break these up. With that, let's get it started and let's keep it rolling. I'm going to try to keep it fast as I get through this because there are a lot. Absolute Batman number 4 gets a second print. All right, I guess we still need these at this point because there's still people missing out. Don't know why we need 1 in 25 incentives for it, but hey, we got one. If you want it, go ahead, see if you can pick it up. We also got a second print of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the Naruto crossover. I kind of like this cover. It's kind of fun. And we have a second print cover here, as well as a second print incentive sketch version of it. Don't know if that's necessary, but we got it anyway. Still, if you want it, go ahead and go pick it up. I believe they're right around ratio, so you can probably find it for $10 or less in most places. But Bug Wars. I actually kind of enjoyed this. Once I finally got around to it, I did enjoy reading this. It was an interesting story. I'm going to try to keep up with it, at least for a little while. But yeah, Bug Wars. So getting a second print, if you missed that on the first one, obviously, you can give it a shot here. And just the one cover, no incentives. That's it. Second print, Bug Wars. But I did enjoy this as a read. Geiger, if you want to keep up, we got the Glowing Woman on issue 12 there. Again, wrapping up the first year of this ongoing. But she first appeared in issue 10. No, she's not on the cover here of the third printing, but this is the third printing of that said book. The second print got a little bit of heat on it because they put her on the cover. But this is her first appearance here with number 10. Help you play catch up if you need to, as does the second print for issue 11, which, again, she kind of appears at the tail end of number 10, just kind of one of those last page kind of splash things. So her, I don't want to say real or true first or any of that. She's in more of the book after that. In issue 11. Let's just say that. Is that all right to say? But we do get a second print of issue 11 available too, if you need to play catch up. Also, The Hive, number 1, gets a second print. I still haven't gotten around to reading this one. I don't know if it's any good. Reading the synopsis, it sounded like the Jason Statham Beekeeper movie a little bit, but I don't know. I don't know if that's what it's honestly like, or if it's any good. If it is, please let me know. I mean, a second print means they must have sold enough copies to warrant the need for more. So maybe it's solid. I don't know. Might have to give it a look-see at this point. But you guys can let me know on that. Here we go. Here's where our long bit's coming in. For whatever reason, we have an 11th printing. That's right, 11th printing for Transformers 1. I don't understand why we need more of these. I thought it was bad enough when we got 10 with 10 different covers. Why do we need an 11th printing? Just buy the trade at this point. Just buy the trade. But whatever. 11th printing for issue 1. 7th printing for issue 2. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. 7th printings here. 5th printing for issue 3. Yeah, all this week. Look at all this paper. All this paper's getting thrown out there. We're going to skip a couple of issues and give you the 4th printing of issue 6. Skip another one, get to number 8, where we'll get a 3rd printing. Fun. Astro Train fighting Skywarp. I think it's Skywarp. Where else? We got another 3rd printing here. I'm going to jump again to 11. See, it's not even like we're doing every issue. It's like jumping here. Pretty fun. Pretty cool. You got RC there. Issue 11, 3rd printing though at this point. And then we'll get to some 2nd prints. Here we go. And this will follow the natural progression of 2nd prints for Transformers, which means we need 2 covers. So yeah, issue 12 has an Autobot cover. Boom. Oh, that's who with the sword. It's the van. Anyway, call back to earlier. The one FOC cover, or not FOC cover, the one on spoiler cover earlier. It's the van. That's who it is. Anyway, 2nd print Decepticon cover. Also, a 3rd printing on number 13. That's right. We got a 2nd print just released for 12, but issue 13 getting a 3rd print already. Because, yeah, spoiler dude's back, as we all know by now. Megatron. So that's why I don't know it's a spoiler cover. I mean, it's been kind of issues. We knew he was kind of returning, but whatever. 2nd print for issue 14. This is kind of a fun one. The Hiss Tank merged with Starscream. It was also a fun bit in the story. But we've got 2 Decepticon covers, really, then. We've got this one, as well as right here. Another one of the Combaticons, right? They're the Combaticons form Bruticus. Sometimes I lose track. So many Transformers out there. And like I said, sitting down to do one of these shows, I could misspeak. And if I do, I apologize. I have no problems with you guys correcting me down below. But with that said, those are 2nd prints for Transformers and later printings. We still got one more because, hey, Transformers got an 11th printing, so Void Rivals can't be left out. So Void Rivals as well gets an 11th printing for number 1. Whew. Don't know if that was needed, but we got it anyway. All right. Speaking of, I don't know if these are needed, but we're getting them anyway. Guess what DC decided to do? For March Madness, they said, hey, let's make some basketball-themed covers. All right, cool. Courtside variants. That's right. We're getting some of our popular DC heroes, playing some ball, shooting the rock. Cool? I don't know. But with that said, we're only getting one this week to start it off. More in the weeks ahead. Our first one is coming from Action Comics 1084, as Superman is apparently playing basketball against some aliens. I don't know. I would not have guessed this was a basketball-themed cover if you didn't tell me that it was. It looks like a planet that's flying above his head. Not so much a basketball going up in a hoop, but a planet with a ring around it. But nope, this is basketball. And we're getting a lot of these. Well, maybe not a lot, but a decent amount. Look, here's the rundown. We're getting another, 7? So 8 in total. Cool. International Women's Day. So this is also running through this month as a theme month for DC. These are all seem to be done by Jenny Frison. We got one last week, and we've got one this week, which is a pretty cool Mara. I like it. It's just a good Frison cover. So I'm in. Star Wars on the Marvel side of things also doing their Women's History Month variant. So, to celebrate women's history and whatnot, they're decided to do it with Star Wars characters. And this week we get Rey on the cover of Legacy of Vader number 2. It's all right. I mean, it looks just like her. Looks just like Daisy Ridley, so can't complain there. Not many of these either. So this is the 2nd issue, following the Ahsoka on Jedi Knights last week. And we're going to skip next week, and it looks like we're getting 2 more at the end of the month to finish off Marvel's nod to Women's History Month through Star Wars. The iconic variants by Todd Nauck are rolling, and they're rolling stronger. They went from being 2 weeks apart to being a week apart to now we're getting 2 this week. And I don't know what's ahead. I don't have a list, so I don't know what's ahead. The list that I had ends here. But here we have Phoenix number 9. Cool. Again, these are those white background, and then just kind of fill them in. And to continue with the Redhead on Fire, Firestar as our next book on West Coast Avengers number 5. So, yeah, a lot of fire, redheads, flying, very similar. I guess that's why they decided to drop 2 this week, but they did. And for my incomplete list that I had to start, now it's completed. So who knows what more of these are coming, or if any more are coming at all. I don't know. It just said and more. And we did get a mix of a couple more snuck in there, but I don't know if there's more on the way after this or not. We'll see. But we do have the Invisible Woman variants, just called Invisible variants because, well, I guess we're just to imply woman as just Sue Storm's little cutout there, but with the exclamation point, it just kind of ends as invisible. So, just like the Human Torch weren't Human Torch variants, it was just Torch. This is just Invisible variant. With that, ASM 69, call back to Secret Wars 8. That's kind of fun, right? Deadpool also losing his bottom half here. This is on Deadpool number 12. Some have taken the Invisible Woman variant to be just Invisible Woman fighting like other characters. So here she's just fighting Helverine. Okay, I guess that works. And then we got another jokey cover here on Iron Man where she's making his armor see-through so we can see him in his undies. I mean, there's nothing wrong with these. The Secret Wars homage is probably my favorite of this bunch. The only one I'd probably think about getting, but I'm still probably not picking it up personally. But that's what's out there if you wanted to collect them. That's the chunk for this week. I have a short coming later on in the week, and we've got 3 more on the way to finish out the month. As you can see here, we had 3 last week, 4 this week, 3 more in the next 2 weeks. Now, we're still with Marvel, as Marvel is also running this month the kimono variants by Peach Momoko. Some of these have been really good. Some of these, not as good. Just being honest. Just being honest with my opinion on the art. Now, with that said, we've only got 3 this week. All new Venom. Not bad. I kind of like it. I kind of like the kind of setup. You're getting sort of almost like a tattoo vibe there on Venom on number 4. Phoenix number 9. I don't really care for this one. I get it. She looks a little bit like a flower, a little butterfly-ish, but the shape of her head is just it's oddly cartoonish. I'll just put it that way. So this one's not as much for me. Way too stylized. But the X-Men one here with Temper, I do like. I think it's pretty solid. I like the dual colored kimono to match the offset eyes because she has fire and ice powers. Makes sense. X-Men 13. This one's not bad. But these were the 3 for this week. As you can see here, we had a chunk last week, chunk this week, a couple more chunks in the weeks ahead. We'll cover them when we get there. Also, this week, we got another installment into the Marvel Rivals variants, round 2. This time, we're only getting 1 book. And it's going to be covering Penny Parker on Amazing Spider-Man 69. So, you can see we just added 2 more ASM books with the Invisible Woman and the Rivals variant here to that pile from earlier. But, I mean, it's a design variant. It is what it is. Not my favorite of the bunch, and it's the only one we got this week. So, there it is. Oh, even forgot to put my check mark, but that checks off March 12th. We'll get 3 next week, and then 3 on the 26th to wrap us up with those Marvel Rival variants. Now, I decided to switch up the order here, as we are almost done, as we are working towards wrapping it up. So, we are going to go on over to Cheesecake covers next. I know I usually end the show with Cheesecake covers, but I don't know, I felt like switching it up this week. Starting off with Witchblade. This is mostly on the basis of Witchblade being a bad girl title from the 90s, because that's what it was. It was sort of based off of, that's kind of the vibe we're going with, and most of the covers back in those days used to be on the Cheesecake end of things. These aren't so much very Cheesecakey, but that's why I have it here in this section, because the title as a whole has that history. So with number 9, her facing Jackie Escato, the Darkness, again, in this redone Top Cow universe. We've got a cover A, and we do have a B cover here as well, which I guess leans a little bit more into it as you get that little side action. But I don't know. I'm not currently reading Witchblade. I don't know if I should be. I felt like I read these already, so I don't know if I need to go through it again. But if they're good and if they're redoing it well, please let me know, and I'll give it a look-see, because I didn't hate the first run. I just felt like it dragged the first time out, like the first 24 issues. I feel like it took us a while to get there, but hey, things changed in 30 years. Now, also, I've kind of been putting these Phoenix covers in this section because a lot of them had that kind of, just spotlighting Jean Grey just flying around looking good on covers. So that's kind of where she finds herself here. I only got two options here for you with an A, and I don't know if it's technically the B or the C, because as you know, there was the Pete Momoko cover and other options in there as well. But here are the two regular editions. And then there's another one coming up later that I had to put in the cover section that is completely unrelated. And I don't know if it's the start of a new theme segment, but we'll get to that in a minute. Before we get there, let's wrap up through Catabasis. So I don't know this Black Box Comics title, just featuring this vigilante monster hunter type lady going at it with demons and things in the background. I don't know. It just kind of has that bad girl of the 90s kind of vibe. As does this Kendra from Antarctic Press. Don't know anything about this title. Just saw the cover and said this is what this segment is all about. As is this $20 cover option. It's not an incentive. It's just a $20 cover, which is pretty nice, but I don't know if it's $20 nice, personally. Like, if this is a B cover, I'd be like, all right, maybe, if I saw this on a shelf. But issue 1 of 3, all right, well, maybe. But I don't know. For me, I'm not paying 20. You guys do what you like. I mean, could be worth it. Who knows? Maybe she's the next big character. I doubt it, but you never know. Point being, you do what you want with your money, and I'll do what I want with mine. And we're going to wrap up our Cheesecake segment here with Zenescope. So, Terror and the Fury, number 3. Yeah, I don't know what goes on inside these Zenescope books. I've heard some of them aren't bad, but I got to admit that I haven't really read these things. I have, on the occasion, picked up a cool looking cover. But here is the cover A with, looks like a Captain, well, I think it's like Terror or something or other, right? Mr. Terror. I don't know what this dude's called, but he looks like when the Punisher became Captain America for that short stretch. That's kind of what he looks like. But anyway, here are your other cover options, which is what really brings us here to the point. Mainly are covered there in the center, the royal cover, which is also our 1 in 20 option. If we decide to make it a little more risque, this is your incentive option for that cover. I could see it being sought after and collectible for those that collect these covers. It's a niche collecting market, but it's not easy to find 1 in 20s for these Zenescope books, and sometimes they can go for a little bit extra. Just saying. But it's a different market. That said, I like it. It's not bad. I'm not going to go hunting for one, but if I stumble across it, I might consider it. But here we will wrap up now with just regular covers. These are just covers that I like. Thought it was a good way to end this show this week, even though I'm kind of getting a tickle in my throat here as I'm wrapping up. Our first one being something I thought for the Cheesecake section because it had Wonder Woman on it. But really, it's Vampires World War V #7. This Santa Fung cover. This is a cool looking Wonder Woman, especially with that like Castlevania, Castle Grayskull type big skull castle in the background. It just had a cool image, cool look to it. I just kind of like it. Same to be said for Spawn. This is a Jeff Monk cover. I don't know. It's got just a really cool look. I just like it. It's giving me like a little bit of a Ashley Wood kind of vibe to it. A little touch of David Mack, some watercolor oily cover splashes. I don't know. All I know is it draws my eye, and I like it. A 1 in 25 on that Deadpool. I would have liked a background here, but outside of that, I like the overall image and layout with all the swords and Miles and Deadpool facing off. I just was hoping for a background, but I still like it. Here's that Phoenix cover I mentioned. This is called a Dark Gods cover, so I guess it's featuring those Dark Gods from the other series or whatever. I don't know if that's a thing that we're going to be getting, but this is called a Dark Gods variant. I just thought it was a cool layout with the characters like inside, one another kind of laid out like that. Just thought it looked cool. Just like in a similar pose, we've got Darth Vader, the Derek Chew. So Kylo Ren and Vader split by lightning. Yeah, so it's not bad. As are the rest of these covers on this Vader title. I'll admit, all the covers are pretty good. Even the Rey cover looked like Rey. These are all pretty solid, including this Alan Qua cover with Kylo Ren coming right at you. Kylo Ren facing a Rancor by David Lopez on the 1 in 25. Not bad. Again, would have liked more of a background here, but I get it. Tatooine, desert, could just be emptiness. I can buy into that. And then the 1 in 50, Raphael Grassetti is also a really cool look with that hallway. Adds on. Again, look what a background can do for an image. Like if that was just a blank background, maybe I don't like it so much, but just the way it draws the eye down the corridor with the look back. Yes, it's Kylo Ren. Maybe not for everybody, but I think it's a cool looking cover for the 1 in 50. I don't know. Just thought I'd point it out. And with that all said, that's all I got for you this week. Sorry, like I said, I feel like I'm kind of losing my voice at this point, but I do want to take the time to thank you for all the support you have given to the channel and to me personally. Make sure you check out all the other shows we do have here on the channel. And don't worry, I'll be back soon with some more content. Very soon. We've got, I don't think I'm going to do a Chasing Ghosts on Tuesday, but we'll have the Tax Show live on Wednesday. Dollar Bin Digging will come Thursday. Hot 10, as usual, 9 o'clock every Friday, followed by the Qualified. The boys dropping live. Saturday night special, as well as Marco is going over to my buddy's Cliff's channel, Cliff on Comics. You can find links to him shared down below in our on our main page. Give Cliff give a look, see, give him a sub. I was on his show for Coffee and Comics last Saturday. Marco's going on for Coffee and Cocktails, I think, next weekend. So take a look at that. And Star Wars on Sunday, and then we'll start the week up all new again. And I'll probably squeeze in a Chasing Ghosts maybe in next week. But with all that said, still plenty more coming your way from the channel. Hopefully you're on board for more. And again, I'll see you all later, right?